Hello, hello, my lovely people. And today we are talking about fear of enclosed spaces, claustrophobia, right? Yeah. So what kind of phobia it is, why it is so uncontrolled, and it's even more debilitating than fear of flying or fear of driving because it's like every closed spaces, right? So you can be, if you have a fear of enclosed spaces, you will have a fear of flying, you will have a fear of driving, you will fear of being in a closed room, crowded spaces, closed windows, rooms without windows, elevators, right? And so that's kind of what it is, right? So it's more broad than just fear of flying. Why it happens, right? And what is it linked to? Usually claustrophobia is linked to the childhood traumatic experience or some event in your recent years, right? Some accidents, right? Car accidents, turbulence, right? That triggered this fear, right? Of being out of control, right? And this fear is very triggering. So most of the people just avoid it. They just avoid it. They avoid elevators. They avoid airplanes. They avoid cars. They avoid being in some rooms. They don't have windows, or the windows and the doors are closed. So they will usually just avoid it all, right? So, however, when you avoid the object, right, or the reason of the fear creeps up into other areas of your life. This is how it happens. So I had a client who came to me for fear of flying, and he decided that he will avoid flying, like altogether. He will not fly. So he didn't fly for years and years. However, the fear didn't go away. It started to creep up into other areas of your life. So he started to be very fearful for his business, right? He started to be very anxious. And when we came to the fear of flying, all the other issues resolved because he understood that you cannot avoid the issue. You can face it, process it, and then you can move on. But if you avoid it, if a client comes to me and they tell me about their fear or phobia or anxiety, right, or depression or any childhood problems, and they tell me, like, you know what, I forgot all about it. I just put it behind myself, put it behind. I moved on. I was like, okay, good. I'm not saying that it's bad, but did you process it? Did you have anyone to talk to about this problem? Did you work with the therapist or a psychologist, right? Oh, no, 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 no. I just put it I just put it in a closet. I locked it in a closet and it's in the past and it doesn't bother me anymore. I was like, okay, so let's talk about what bothers you then. And they're like, well, I have 24/7 anxiety, and I'm on a depression medication, and I have this fear and this, and I have a social anxiety, so I don't go out. And it was like, okay, so that means you don't have any other issues because you just decided to close all of those childhood problems in the closet. Well, that's why we now have what we have, right? So it's a red flag for me when people say, I forgot everything, I locked it in the closet, and I don't want to go back there. Means that it's a red flag and we have to go there. When people tell me that, I actually processed it, I understand, that's even easier to work with these people because they are more open, right? They're more open to the healing that needs to be done in order to overcome any phobia or any fear. So these are the symptoms. So what are the symptoms? And you probably know if you have a phobia, this kind of phobia, you already know the symptoms. Panic, hyperventilating, increased heart rate, foggy thoughts, right? You cannot function. It's so uncontrolled. You feel like you're suffocating. You even sweating, you getting sick. You can be disoriented. Your only thought is, I want out. And if it happens in the elevator, press the button and in a couple of seconds you'll be out. But if it's in the airplane, for example, and you cannot get out if you are very high in the air, right? You cannot get out. That becomes very, very problematic. And this fear becomes more it creates more issues in your life. Also, people with very serious illnesses like cancer, right? Or any other illnesses that require doing MRT, right? So that also can create this claustrophobia. This phobia can create huge issue because people just cannot do this test. They cannot do the scan, and without that scan, they cannot be diagnosed. And that's something. And many kids, in children's hospitals, they are fearful, they're freaking out of this MRT, right? Because they have already this fear of closed spaces. So what are the roots in your subconscious? So this is an unconscious fear, right? You cannot control it. You cannot understand what's happening and why it's happening to you. But it can be in the past. It can be in your childhood trauma, adverse experience, maybe you were abused, neglected, bullied, in most cases, right, this phobia will have those roots. Sometimes it was a separation from parents, like when the kids go to daycare very early at the age of 6 months, 8 months, or 1 year, they can develop some phobias, either social anxiety or these different fears and phobias because there was the separation from the parents where kids really needed them and they needed really emotional support. They didn't understand what's happening and no one told them what's happening. Also, it can be this feeling of being out of control, usually during the childhood abuse. Kids are out of control. They cannot protect themselves. They cannot process it. So they kind of capsule the trauma, right? And they decide that I have to be in control, whether it's being in control of the environment, whether it's being in control of their, body and eating habits, right? Or people around them, right? They try to be and to get in control. However, when we are flying or we are driving or we are in the elevator and in closed space, we feel like we are out of control, which is true because we cannot control those situations. However, this phobia can also go into this recent experiences that you had. For example, car accident where you were jammed, in a car, and by the time the firefighters and the people from the emergency, crew, they helped you out. You were in this, very shocking mode, right? Very traumatic experience. You can develop this phobia. When, for example, people are stuck in the elevators, they can develop these fears as well. It will trigger something from the past. However, it happened just recently, right? Or a couple of years ago, but you were an adult already. Sometimes airplanes turbulence, right? Airplane turbulence can trigger the phobia, right? But usually it triggers the phobia of being out of control, and being out of control is in the past. So it's I never assume. I always go with the client to find out what actually triggered them, right? What is it? Is it fear of dying, or is it just fear of being out of control, right? Where is that flashbacks? What is the trigger, right? In their head. And it's different for everyone. How to really work with this phobia? You don't have to be afraid of closed spaces all your life. If someone is telling you, oh, that's going to be, I'm sorry, I cannot help you. If your physician or your therapist is telling you that, oh, we'll try these tools, we'll try these coping mechanisms, we tried this and this, but if it doesn't work, then, well, just take medication before each time when you fly, or each time when you go somewhere in a crowded space, or you are in the elevator, just keep your windows open all the time, keep your doors open all the time. So they will give you all of these coping tools, but they will help to cope in the moment. but they will not help in the future. Some people do. Some people expose themselves, and exposure therapy really works, and they kind of become resilient, but that can take years, like really years. So what to do is, usually with any fear or phobia, you need to understand what caused this fear, what caused this phobia. And when you find out, you'll understand that it's like irrational. Because now logically you do understand it is irrational, that you should be fine, and it's safe. But your subconscious mind doesn't know about that. So you need to really find out what caused it, and then you will give your subconscious mind an understanding. And that's very, very important. No one can fix the phobia for you. No one. No one can fix the fear for you. No, like people come to me and like, can you hypnotize me and fix my fear of driving? I was like, I cannot fix you. I can help you, that you can fix it for yourself, but I cannot fix it for you. Just like any other doctor or any other therapist, they never promise you to fix something for you. You are the one who can do all the healing within. The hypnotherapist is just guiding you, right? They are helping you to form these new positive suggestions. Therapists are helping you with coping tools, right? Kind of, talking through the traumatic experiences, but definitely not doing anything for you, as with any fear. However, it is your choice. You choose which way you want to go. And if you want to go on a deeper level, just like, for example, RTT hypnotherapy that I am trained with, like it's a very deep, very complex approach, or you want to go like with sessions after sessions, just talking about it. And, in the end, at some point, you may kind of get a release from that fear. It's absolutely up to you, but no one can do that for you, but we can do it with you. So I wish you all the best. Be healthy physically and mentally, and I'll see you next time.